Good evening, and thanks for joining us on Nationwide this beautiful Thursday evening. I'm Elizabeth Omori with the news. President Bola Tinubu and Equatorial Guinea President Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasago have signed an agreement on Gulf of Guinea pipeline project, further affirming partnership for mutual development. A statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, says the agreement covered regulatory measures for establishment of the gas pipeline operation, transit and ownership. President Tinubu remarked that signing of the agreement will open up new opportunities for gas exploration and employment in Africa. President of Equatorial Guinea says bilateral relations with Nigeria over many years have been rewarding, emphasizing the need for Africa to have a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. Now, the presidency has reacted to alleged attempts by a Chinese company, Zhongshan Fusheng Industrial Investment Company Limited, to take over offshore assets of the federal government of Nigeria through fraudulent means. In a statement by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the federal government says it is not under any contractual obligation to the company, as the case is between the company and the Ogun State government, which has been making efforts to amicably resolve the matter. The statement says the contract with Ogun State was revoked in 2015 because the Chinese company had only erected a perimeter fence on the land earmarked for a free trade zone. Onanuga explained that Ogun State is still working with the Attorney General and Minister of Justice on the amicable solution. He said Zhongshan obtained 2 orders from the Judicial Council of Paris in March and August without any notice being duly served on either the federal government or Ogun State. The presidential advisor likened the latest arm-twisting tactics by the Chinese company to PNID case, in which questionable individuals falsely present themselves as investors to undercut governments in Africa. The government assures Nigerians of readiness to protect the nation's assets in foreign jurisdictions from predators. Now, from the judiciary, the National Judicial Council has recommended Justice Kudirat Kekereekun as president to President Bola Tinubu for appointment as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The council made the recommendation at a meeting. A recommendation follows the pending retirement of CJN Justice Olkayode Ariwola next day. Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, born May 7, 1958, obtained her LLB in 1980 from the University of Lagos and was called to the Nigerian bar on the 10th of July 1981. A life bencher, she was elevated to the bench of the Supreme Court of Nigeria as the 5th female justice of the courts. To infrastructure development, Minister of Works David Umahi commences a 2-day flood assessment tour to Bauchi State with the flagging off of 35.4 kilometers Bauchi-Gombe Road. The Works Minister assures Nigerians of federal government's determination to ensure total rehabilitation of dilapidated roads across the country for enhanced socio-economic development. Muazu Hassan reports.
Arrival of the Minister of Work, Senator David Umahi, at the Gombe Airport to Bauchi State is part of the federal government commitment to ensure the commencement of this Bauchi-Gombe Road rehabilitation project.
We have about 135 kilometers of Gombe-Bauchi road. Then 35 kilometers the end of the road to Bauchi is been awarded to the glory of God. Amen. Thank you.
Over 39 billion naira is provided by the federal government to this road project, which is awarded in April and expected to be completed within 18 months.
Beyond that, I've seen, the balance of 100 kilometers of the road that are in very terrible condition. And what I've directed my director, who is here, Engineer Bakari, and the Deputy Director, Musa, is to, deploy consultant to redesign this remaining 100 kilometers.
The minister commended the effort put in place by the Bauchi and Gombe state government on the road, with assurance of payment any state that embark on the rehabilitation of any federal road. In Bauchi, Moaz Hassan, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Yobe State Government delegation through the State Emergency Management Agency has visited Karasuwa, Yusufari, Mashina and Nguru local governments to conduct rapid spot assessment and validate findings earlier sent by the Local Emergency Management Committee for immediate response. SEMA's records indicate that over 5,000 households with more than 18,000 individuals across 208 communities from 16 local government areas have been documented having been affected by floods, windstorms and related disasters from April 2024 to date. Executive Secretary of SEMA, Dr. Mohammed Goje, reaffirms government's readiness to ensure victims are protected and supported within the available resources. Now to electrification. 13 transmission towers along the Hauda-Yenagua transmission line have been vandalized. In a statement, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, says 9 out of the 13 vandalized towers have collapsed completely, while 4 are hanging and could collapse at any moment. TCN appeals to governments of Rivers and Bayelsa states to assist in addressing vandalism of its installations, noting that 2 towers were also vandalized in July. TCN once again appeals to security operatives, host communities, traditional rulers, state governments, and other stakeholders to collaborate in the fight against vandalism. The Cross River State government has flagged off construction of a 365 kilometers interstate rail line under a public-private partnership funding initiative at the groundbreaking in Calabar. The state governor, Senator Basi Utsu, said the project is earmarked for implementation at the cost of $350 million. Maureen Leo Ajam tells us more.
While unveiling the project design, the state governor, Senator Basi Utsu, said the railway will traverse the entire stretch of the state with 2 major terminals at Calabar and Obudu, as well as 3 substations in Ugeb, Ikom and Ogoja. The governor pointed out that beyond connecting communities in the state, the project will serve as a veritable transportation corridor for products and services, thereby boosting economic growth in the state and its environs.
Cross River State is frontier to Equatorial Guinea, Cameroon, Sao Tome and Principe. It is also home to the largest export processing zone in Nigeria, the Calabar Free Trade Zone. Therefore, the rail line will not only facilitate the easy interstate movement, but it will serve as evacuation corridor for goods and services within international borders.
While soliciting maximum cooperation from communities along the designated railway and urging them to avail themselves of the massive job opportunities to be provided, the governor maintained that over 20,000 direct jobs will be created through the project. When completed, the project will be the first ever rail line in Cross River State. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak of Kwara State has established a garment factory to provide employment for the state teeming youths. Shola Wahid, who went to the facility, brings us details.
The Kwara Garment Factory, located within Ilorin Metropolis, is a massive invested hub aimed at creating employment opportunities for women and youth.
We've got some embroidery machines, 9 heads, 6 heads, that are able to thread 9 different colors of thread at the same time. Those are all the kind of equipment that we have in place that will set us apart.
We have so many machines that even I have not been able to use in my entire life, but working here, I've been able to use so many of them.
What I do here is clothes come from cotton to here.
The Kwara Garment Factory, when fully operational, will serve Kwara State and Nigeria at large, as well as export its product to foreign countries to boost the state IGR. In Ilorin, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
And Shola is standing by to give us an update on activities at the factory. Thank you so much for joining us on Nationwide.
Thank you for having me.
Now tell us, this garment factory, on what basis was it established? PPP or solely funded by the state government?
Okay, thank you very much. The factory was established with the sole purpose of creating jobs for youths in the state. Secondly, it's aimed at generating revenue for the state government and to serve as example for other states to copy, to emulate, so that there will be mass employment for youths all over Nigeria. That's the aim for now.
Okay. Now, this is a good news, a cheering news for residents of Kwara, of Ilorin. How are residents taking this development?
Well, the residents are happy here. You can see there is a massive turnout. People have already registered. The place is serving as a trainer for people to come out and become trainees in the nearest future. And the place has already kick-started and it's functioning very well. We have a lot of machines here. About 1,000 sewing machine is available. We have cutting machine of high standard. We have ironing units. We have departments. They are all available to a world standard. That's what we have here at the Kwara State Garment Factory.
Tell us, what impact will this have on the economy of the state? Shola, can you hear me? All right, Shola, what impact will this have on the economy of the states?
Well, it will create revenue for the government. The government has already invested hugely in this factory, and it is expected that in the nearest future, the government will reap the fruit of its investment. Presently, youths are showing interest in the garment industry, and they are participating. They are being trained, and some already are graduated. Some have become trainers, and as we have expatriates from other countries that are even training our people here. And in the next future, it's going to be a very new generation for the state.
No, thank you so much, Shola, for the update. Thank you. Moving on, for a long time, Kwara State was blacklisted by the Universal Basic Education Commission, and this led to many negative consequences. Khadijat Akombi reports on efforts by the Abdurrahman Abdurazak administration in collaboration with UBEC to change the narrative.
The blacklisting of Kwara State by the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, enrollment into public primary and junior secondary schools went down, and many of the schools were in a state of dilapidation. With the intervention by Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak's administration to address the situation, many developmental school projects have been embarked upon across the 16 local government areas of Kwara State through the State Universal Basic Education Board in collaboration with the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, with the use of matching grant funds facilitated by the state government and UBEC.
The government was able to construct a block of 2 classrooms with office in 116 locations across the 16 local government areas. And they also constructed a block of 3 classrooms in 84 locations across the 16 local government areas. We also constructed a block of 4 classrooms with offices in 64 locations across the 16 local government areas.
For the benefiting schools and communities, it is all thanks to Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak and the federal government for coming to their aid.
We want to appreciate the government for giving us a good learning environment.
Thank government for innovating our school.
We appreciate the government with the new furniture, the classrooms, the ICT center, and the water provided in our school.
Before, our children used to sit on the ground, writing on the window, but now they can sit comfortably in the class.
On behalf of the community, we are very grateful and thank the government for the renovation of our schools.
With the unwavering commitment of the Kwara State government and the collaborative efforts of the Universal Basic Education Commission, basic education will become attainable for all, significantly reducing the number of out-of-school children and improving the overall standard of education across the state and the nation in general. Khadija Takumbi, NTA News.
Still on education, new sets of education manuals specifically designed for senior secondary schools across the country in order to upscale the sector have been floated by the Minister of State Education. The newly introduced manuals are part of government's ongoing efforts to revamp educational curriculum to meet global standards. Christiana Akonde brings us details.
Gathering here are academia, policymakers, educationists, administrators, and other like minds in education sector. The importance of these manuals in bridging gap between current educational practices and the demands of the 21st century and not be overemphasized, says Dr. Sununu, noting that manuals are not just books, but tools designed to equip students with necessary knowledge and skills required to thrive in a rapidly changing world.
The ministry is currently collaborating with the Office of Head of Service, Federal Civil Service Commission, and other relevant government organs to recruit 3,500 teaching staff in the Federal Ministry of Education for the utilization of our various federal government colleges nationwide.
One of the most critical areas requiring attention is the recruitment of teachers. It is not enough to have a sufficient number of teachers. We must ensure that they are highly qualified and specialized in their subjects.
There is a need for us to brainstorm, X-ray the problems of the education sector and see how we can provide solutions together.
The manuals include National Policy on Senior Secondary Education in Nigeria, the National Senior Secondary Education Commission Strategic Plan, Manual for the Monitoring and Evaluation of Senior Secondary Education in Nigeria 2024, and training manuals for teachers of English language and mathematics in senior secondary schools in Nigeria.
You're watching Nationwide on NTA. Let's join Hingino in Lagos for more reports. Hello, Hingino. For more reports.
Thank you, Lizzie. Nice to see you. Nigeria is determined to sustain the zero incidents of piracy and sea robbery in its maritime domain through joint efforts of security operatives and collaboration with international partners to further harness the potential of the blue economy. Director General of NIMASA says Nigeria's target of increasing its revenue through the maritime sector is feasible with all stakeholders now on the same page.
Over the years, ending piracy has been top on the agenda of all stakeholders in the maritime industry. This is because of the threats to business activities along the coastlines in the country. The Gulf of Guinea is one of the areas that Nigeria and the international community have jointly sanitized through effective policing. The major priorities of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, according to the Director General, is to leverage on the zero piracy and the Deep Blue project received with enthusiasm at the interaction the DG had at the Chatham House in the United Kingdom.
The President of Nigeria has given us the mandate to do is to strengthen the Deep Blue project and also to work intensively with all the military apparatus and also expand the assets.
The Director General and other maritime experts note that with the extension of Nigeria's continental shelf by 20 nautical miles, more efforts will be put in place to maximize the gains.
We need equipment, we need resources, we need manpower to do all of this. And to do it, we also need the international support.
A very innovative team who are always on the lookout for new opportunities, who are also creating opportunities, not just waiting for opportunities to come.
NEMASA is also seeking synergy with the media to project the prospects of Nigeria's maritime sector to attract foreign investors and create more opportunities. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
The Lagos State government is intensifying efforts to diversify its economy and boost internally generated revenue through a robust partnership with the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. The Commissioner for Finance disclosed this during a visit by a delegation of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission at the Lagos House, Ikeja. Ese Onwamaka reports.
State, the economic hub of West Africa, thrives majorly on its internally generated revenue, which is the mainstay of its economy. The task of ensuring that Lagos State continues to have a robust and diversified income base driven substantially by its IGR is dependent on the support, cooperation and collaboration with agencies at the federal level, such as the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC. This visit by a team of delegates from RMAFC, led by Alhaji Ismail Agaka, lauded the state's financial strength and fiscal economy. He says the commission is eager to learn from Lagos State in order to properly guide other states of the Federation.
When we talk about best practices, is to see what is working very well here, so as to advise others that, look, make Lagos State a role model for you in this specific area. Likewise, if we have seen other states that are doing better than Lagos in certain areas, we are going to also tell Lagos State that, look, learn from that state.
The Commissioner for Finance, Abayomi Oluyomi, while acknowledging the role of RMAFC in enhancing states' competencies and assisting them in diversifying their economic basis, noted that Lagos State government will continue to collaborate in order to expand the economic potential of the state.
The opportunity that is being presented by this committee of Ramford, that we tap into that opportunity so that we can grow Lagos of our dreams. We are dreaming very big for Lagos State, so that we can get to the objective of what Mr. Governor has set out to achieve for the citizens of Lagos State.
The team of the RMAFC is on the working tour across the 36 states of the Federation to assess the efforts of states in implementing government policies and programs. In Lagos, S.C. Owamaka, NT News.
That's it from here. Nationwide will continue with Lanre in Ibadan after this break.
Nationwide on the network service of the NTA, and welcome to Ibadan. In an effort to boost the economy of Osun State, the wife of the governor, Erelu Ngozi Adeleke, has flagged off an empowerment program for 3,000 business women in the state. Erelu Adeleke at the program in Oshogbo also promised to empower over 9,000 youths and persons with disability before the end of the year. Femi Afariogun reports.
For 3 days, 3,000 business women between the ages of 18 to 35 years, spread across the 3 senatorial districts of Osun State, were tutored on how best to boost their businesses. Aside the wife of the governor registering businesses of all the 3,000 women with Corporate Affairs Commission, she is also giving out grants to boost their businesses.
SMEs control the large chunk of the GDP of Nigeria, and I really want to see my women grow their business, because if SMEs in Osun State are booming, are doing well, it adds up to our own GDP in the state.
The Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Reverend Bumijeyo, described the initiative as a giant one that will further complement Governor Adeleke's effort at empowering many youths in the state.
This is to change a narrative of joblessness in our society.
For women in Osun, it will eradicate a lot of poverty.
The training for Osun Central was held at Oshogbo, while that of Osun East was held at Ilesha, and that of Osun West was at Iwo. Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
Worried by the current trend of skyrocketing prices of food, the Nigerian Agribusiness Group, NAG, says sustainable agribusiness is pivotal to attain food security and exports. This is at a two-day agribusiness sensitization initiative organized by the Nigerian Agribusiness Group, NAB, supported by Innovation Lab for Policy Leadership in Agriculture and Food Security, PILAF, in collaboration with Dawn Commission. Kende Omolosho covered the opening for NTA News.
The Nigerian Agribusiness Group is committed to driving sustainable agricultural development through policy initiatives, with the aim to enhance policy studies, research and development initiatives while promoting agricultural policies to ensure food security and environmental sustainability. Director General NABG identified good agricultural practices, soil management, crop handling and management as best practices for farmers.
To feed 200 million people is no small task. So we need our farmers and our agribusinesses to take on initiatives that has an implication for the market, and we believe is one of the strong pillars that would end this food insecurity we are currently facing.
We need to know what is at stake, the solutions, how can we combat climate change, how can we make the best of the opportunities and the policies that are being rolled out daily in favor of agri, and reduce importation.
The sensitization will ensure food safety from farm to the table.
The government should put a lot of support, especially in terms of policy strategy and enabling environment. We need to drive more investors into agriculture. We need to ensure that we move away from just the small holding on agriculture to more of a medium to large investors in agriculture as well.
The advice is for farmers to create resilient agricultural systems that contribute to environmental sustainability, economic growth, to build sustainable future for agriculture in the country. Kende Omolosho, NTA News.
And those are the trendy reports from Ibadan at this hour. Nationwide continues with Elizabeth in our Abuja studio.
Thank you, Larry, and nice to see you. Internal roads in Owerri, the Imo State capital, for 2 days witnessed heavy gridlocks following the blockage of some major roads in the city by truck drivers, protesting what they described as unwarranted seizures of the vehicles, extortion and constant harassments of their members by officials of the Imo State Task Force on Illegal Motor Parks. Loretta Arinzi Egwim report is presented.
Blockage of Owerri-Port Harcourt Road, Owerri-Onitsha Road and other major roads in the Imo State capital by members of Heavy Duty Truck Drivers Union began in the evening of Tuesday, 13th August, when some trucks of the drivers were impounded by members of Imo State Task Force in charge of illegal parks for plying against the lane. Addressing the aggrieved drivers, the Chief of Staff, Imo State Government House, Nnamdi Anyehe, in company of other government officials and Imo State Commissioner of Police, Aboki Danjuma, appreciated the protesting drivers for not resorting to violence.
Every request made by any citizen of the state will be looked into and addressed by government. That is why we are here.
We thank you for your patience, to be frank, for not participating in the last nationwide DC. But this is a minor issue.
He also directed the drivers to unblock the roads for easy flow of traffic. The chairman of the Drivers Association in charge of Anambra and Imo states, Amos Pius, noted that they blocked the roads in protest against illegal harassment of his members and also to draw government's attention to the ugly development. He expressed his satisfaction over the state government's intervention.
We see the difference in Imo State. They are saying the truth, say everybody should carry a truck and nobody should disturb any truck in this road again.
The action of the drivers resulted in loss of man-hours as both motorists and commuters were held up in traffic for several hours.
For an update on the situation, we have Kingsley Ononiwo to give us an update and tell us what authorities are doing about the situation. Kingsley, let's hear from you.
Good evening from Owerri. The situation in Owerri about difficulty in accessing one particular point to another that was so difficult in the past 2 days have come to normalcy. Now the the heavy truck drivers, out of what they describe as constant embarrassment, extortion, and the impoundment of their vehicles, decided that enough is enough. That's why they blocked the major highways in Owerri. 2 days for 2 days, there was difficulty in moving out of Owerri or even coming into Owerri. So the situation granted movement. People were stranded, both motorists and the other road users. It was an ugly experience that no one would like to experience. So now, following this ugly development, the state government, led by the Chief of Staff to Governor Hope Uzodimma, Barrister Nnamdi Anyehe, quickly led the other top government officials to the office of the task force in charge of road obstruction and the other immediate release of all impounded vehicles to the drivers, and pleaded with them that the situation will be looked into so that the ugly experience will not repeat itself. And based on the appeal by the representative of the governor, the aggrieved tanker drivers immediately removed their vehicles from the roads, thereby making movement of people and goods and vehicles to come back to normal.
To know that efforts have been made. Thank you so much, Kingsley, for the updates. Ebonyi State Government has approved 13 million naira and relief materials to victims of recent flooding across 9 local government areas of the state. Fortunate also reports that Igbudu and Ekpaomaka communities in Ukwo Area Council witnessed death of 2 persons, including a pregnant woman.
9 local government areas in the state experienced flooding, leading to the loss of both material and human resources. To cushion the impact of the flooding on over 70 households, Governor Francis Nwifuru approved 13 million naira and bags of rice, garri and maize for the survivors, with a commitment to forestall future occurrence.
No amount is equivalent to a human being.
Victims of the flooding in Igbudu and Ekpaomaka communities extolled the Charter of Needs mantra of the government that has brought relief to them. Commissioner for Human Capital Development, Mrs. Anna Ligwe, who stood in for the governor, advised inhabitants of flood-prone areas to always heed early warning predictions to stay safe in order to reduce the impact of such disasters. In Abakaliki, Fortunate Ozo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the level of destruction caused by the downpour last week along the Kano-Maiduguri Expressway is alarming, a situation that has led to a quick response from the federal government for a lasting solution. Abdullahi Aminu visited some of the affected communities along the road, connecting the entire northeastern states with other parts of the country.
It could be recalled that in the last week, this was the situation of Guskuri and Sabangari villages when their houses were destroyed, farmland submerged by water, and some parts of the federal road crossing through them were cut off as a result of a heavy downpour. This is how the overflow of the water in some of the flood-affected communities is presently forcing the people to find it difficult getting out of their communities. Other communities were also seen being forced to have gotten for themselves a temporary shelter. To them, this process of using leaves and stem of trees is their only way to start their lives, though a temporary measure is provided by the Bauchi state government, but the situation at the cut-up portions of the Maiduguri road is still under a careful watch.
Tun ana jin labaransa daga nesa ana ga irin wanda yake zuwa ke wuce wannan ne ya zo fa karfin mutane. Ya zo ya shiga cikin gari ya rurrushe gidaje. Duk wani gari da yake kan bakin hanyar ruwan nan duk ba garin da ba ruwan da bai ci ba duk ya tattashi garuruka birni da ƙauye wanda yake kan hanyar ruwa da gonake da gidaje.
This is actually a temporary measure by the Bauchi state government, while the federal government has directed the Federal Ministry of Works to properly evaluate the situation for emergency solutions. In Bauchi, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
And Mary in our Just Network Center has some reports for us. Mary.
Welcome to our Just Studio. Stakeholders in the agricultural sector stakeholders the long break in the rainfall being experienced as a result of the global warming, which calls for some proactive measures by all to minimize any negative consequences in food production. Caleb Goching tells us more.
Numbers of farmers for the 2024 cropping season was high, with more people getting into the fields to cultivate for the planting of one crop or the other. The hope of many, however, seems to be dashed as the usual August break lingers longer than expected, leading to the damage being experienced on farmlands, with parts of Plateau severely hit.
Local governments like Lantan South, Wase, there. They have gone too long that most of their crops have perished, that they must be replanted again, especially maize, rice, and others. But for groundnut, it's a bit. With the coming rain, which we are still hoping that it will come at the end of this week, we believe that they will survive.
With so many farmers losing almost all their crops as a result of this, will there be any remedy, given that the year has gone this far?
If there is any irrigation way that people can, any water that is being held around any farm, it could be used. So what it means is that we have to intensify labor. This also, tells us as a government that we need to invest hugely on irrigation.
They expressed optimism that with the right approach, their challenges will be a thing of the past. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
Plateau State Police Command has asked its personnel to stay away from the habit of accosting unsuspecting public and collecting their phones, claiming to be investigating internet fraud. Ijeoma Ozemena has details.
The Plateau State Police Command says it has come to its knowledge the forceful collection of mobile phones by security personnel while trying to investigate cases of internet fraud, culpable homicide, without adhering to laid-down procedures regarding the investigation of such cases.
Police, as already directed by the Inspector General of Police, we respect the fundamental human rights of Nigerians, and we have to be civil and professional. And members of the public are assured that police will not trample on their fundamental human rights.
As a result, he has directed divisional police officers, tactical team commanders, patrol and guard officers, particularly the Anti-Cybercrime Unit, to act in accordance with the Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention Act 2015. Act mandates the officers to apply for ex parte orders from a judge in chambers for the power of arrest and issuance of a warrant for the purpose of obtaining electronic evidence in relation to cybercrime investigations.
If there's any member of the public that is having any complaint whatsoever, we release some phone numbers. They can get across to us through that phone number. And we don't want any of our men to be reckless when they are performing their duties.
The police commissioner advises the public to report any misconduct by officers within the state for action. In Jos, Ijeoma Ozemena, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Jos Nationwide. Will continue in our Benin studio, but after the break. Good evening.
Good afternoon, you're welcome to Benin.
Oil and gas companies operating in the Niger Delta region have been advised to embark on developmental projects that will improve the well-being of members of their host communities and help ameliorate the impact of oil exploration activities in the region. The House of Representatives Committee on Corporate Social Responsibility gave the advice during the committee's oversight to Ajoki community in Obaka local government area of Edo State. Jude Abugu has details.
The visiting lawmakers who accessed Ajoki community through Koko River in Delta State met with members of Ajoki, Kolokoma and Ajamuwa communities, which are among the 7 communities hosting Energid, a subsidiary of Sahara Energy and the current operator of OML 148. The committee's oversight include a visit to Ajoki Flow Station, where they inspected a gas-powered project that provides 24 hours electricity to the host community.
They are actually doing very well by taking care of government facilities here. So to me, that's a welcome development in ensuring that things actually improve for both the host community and the group actually investing in all this.
We have already talked within ourselves to try and channel some constituency projects to this constituency. We would channel our the list of what the community leaders have said to the member representing this community.
The community leaders spoke on their needs and their relationship with the oil company.
The building of government floating filling station in Ajoki to cater for the riverine area. The building of modern hospitals for the health care needs of our people.
If federal government can be able to assist, then we will be able to have a link route from Ologo to Okabiala.
The committee also called on Edo State government to deploy medical personnel to the health center built for the community in Benin. Jude Abugu, NTA News.
An interagency cooperation codenamed Operation Crush the Weeds, coordinated by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA in Ekiti, has successfully destroyed large hectares of cannabis sativa farms in Ekiti. Tayo Osho reports that the operation was led by the Deputy Commander of Operations Mahmoud Kabiru in collaboration with other security agencies.
In cutting down the supply chain of the drug syndicate, the NDLEA assembled their men for an early morning operation tagged Operation Weed Crusher, which was coordinated from the command headquarters by the State Commander, Aino Sunday. The briefing over, the journey through the rough terrain into this forest reserve began with the men of the command, DSS, Army, Forest Rangers, Amotekun, in addition to other sister security agencies. The operation, which commenced in June this year, as attested to by the State Commander, Aino Sunday, led to the discovery of 7.8 hectares of cannabis sativa nursery, which were initially destroyed, as well as the impounding of 24.7 kilograms of cannabis. The Deputy Commander Operations, Ibrahim Muhammad, in his appraisal of the operation in Iseorun local government area, said the 20 hectares of cultivated cannabis destroyed was made possible by intelligence gathering and surveillance carried out to identify the supply chain.
So on our own, we carry out, continue to mount intelligence. We now came across another one that that measured 20 hectares using our GPS device.
Which we thought is even 20 hectares, over 20 hectares of land. However, from the information reaching or why we are here today, more farms have been discovered.
With the destruction of the psychotropic weed farm, fires were lit to dislodge those involved. The Operation Weed Crusher exercise in Iseorun also led to the arrest of suspects by the command, who were paraded, while the state commander used the opportunity to commend the tireless efforts of the NDLEA chairman, General Buba Marwa, retired, whose support has helped in the fight against drug trafficking and cultivation. In Ado-Ekiti, Tayo Osho, NTA News.
That's it from Benin. Nationwide continues in Abuja.
Thank you so much. President Bola Tinubu extends his heartfelt congratulations to Dr. Peter Odili on his 76th birthday. In a statement, the president joins friends, family and people of Rivers State to celebrate the former governor of the state between 1999 and 2007, wishing Dr. Odili more strength to men's aspirations in politics and community leaders for national development. And reports reaching us says Professor Umar Pate has emerged the president of the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters. Professor Pate defeated Mr. Okodua Matthew Igiobo by polling 231 votes. And that's Nationwide today. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Good evening.